Homespun, homemade, home-baked. Writing on air at Chapel FM Arts Centre.
Hello and welcome to Wordship. Wordship has been going since lockdown, and we've got people here who've been with us since 2020, still coming every Sunday and Wednesday, as they've been doing for 4 years, and we've got newcomers coming all the time. We have somebody from Wales today as well, which we'll be introducing her later, and lots of people familiar with the festival, a few newcomers. So we're also from Yaffles Nest and Yaffle, who have been creative partner for a couple of years now with Writing on Air, and it's a real joy to publish the anthology and to be involved in the festival too. Personally, I've been coming here for over 10 years now. I think Peter worked out fairly quickly that I had a good face for radio, so he invites me back quite a lot. But we are being videoed tonight as well, so I'll have to take that as it comes. A great theme this year, recovery. I think we're all recovering from something. I know I'm recovering from quite a lot of things at the moment. And last night's launch really brought to the fore what a great theme it's been and what brilliant responses. And you're going to hear lots of great responses today too. Really eclectic mix of poets and poems. So I'm going to start things off with my own poem. This is from my friend Nick, who died 3 years ago now, and he got a mention in the anthology last year too. So I'm still recovering from grief actually for him. So it's very therapeutic for me to start the proceedings and get this off my chest first. So this is for Nick, and it's called In the Cairngorms. I see what storms did to trees last week, up close as if I have suffered from the damage. Life is about trip hazards once again. Deadfall, the corpses of hazels lying there, waiting to be cut up and taken away. Other trees have died without falling, recumbent, propped up by old friends like those who propped me up. Many paths are cordoned off by tape, as if a murder scene is there to investigate by the Forestry Commission. Utter carnage. Folk I see out walking look like they had grieved each loss. I'm in recovery too, like the trees storms left behind. A friend was lifted from the earth, a man who seemed to wear life lightly, even when things didn't go his way. I still feel anger at his final text. Let's catch up when this is all over. We never did, and I try not to hold it against him. But it's good to feel anger when you grieve. It stops the numbness setting in, so you can hear the remaining trees trying to tell you something, and the rich yellow gauze along the roads, how it shines on even when the sun can't find you. So I met a Yaffle poet yesterday to discuss his third collection with Yaffle, and he got the thumbs up. He's always really relieved when we have this meeting, because we're like brothers who can scrap a bit. And on the last collection, we disagreed on the title quite a lot. We finally sorted it out. But this time it's been really easy. It's a brilliant book. And this is from that book. This is by Matt Nicholson, and this is called Air Rhythm. When he found the surgeon man amongst the lanes of asbestos substitute and paint-splashed glass, he was sitting on a swivel stool between two towers of mock Swedish office furniture, humming loudly, a tune from the 90s, drumming faster as a song built to a banger. He handed the surgeon man the form with the 3 pastel carbon sheets and the one question printed at the top, demanding a description of the patient's heart in terms of size, rhythm, and a simple prognosis. Looking out from on high across the town in free fall, over the columns of red brick rooms, fat-packed pantries, hearing only the shenanigans of the surgeon man's pen on the NHS paper as he wrote, "Patient's heart is fat. It taps like a mad spaniel on pitch black ice. He is sliding this way and that towards the busy motorway. Okay, first up we've got a poet who's working towards her own collection with Yaffles Nest, a fantastic poet who's been involved in this a couple of times as well. Please put your hands together for Ali Murphy.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to read two poems, the first one my own and the next one by Anne Heath. Can I still catch you? I can... Sorry? Okay, sorry. Can I still catch you? I can count all the marriages we've had inside this one, each leaving a trace. The lines in our faces find slipped time. The first moment you caught me, your black polo neck, goatee beard, the long middle years, our son, my mum, your dad. We're somewhere new. Your mind can't recover places and names. I correct you sometimes. Thank you. And this next poem, I've got the pleasure of reading a poem by Anne Heath, who is definitely one of my favourites. All Clear. This woman I am now walks the path beside the black canal. She thinks, wine dark, in rhythm with two sticks that take turns with her feet to drag through the gravel. She thinks chimera, pieced from body parts, soldered with slow poison, vomit, sweat, tears of stomach lining. She thinks shapeshifter, bent around herself, skin sloughed, hair gone, and so much weight there are holes around her that hogweed, knotweed, balsam distort themselves to fill. She thinks hag, acolyte, a bald old woman sightful in the water. She will slip her tablets, bargain with Minerva for what was stolen, with Apollo for sudden time and what comes next. This woman I am now moves slow as the canal. She thinks there is a bridge somewhere, a road away. She is not there yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Lovely stuff. Don't be frightened of the mic stand. If you want to adjust it, just give it a little twist and pull or push down nice and gently. But I can stick around and help you with that. Next up, we've got another Yaffles Press poet who brought out his first collection last year. And it's quite unusual for many reasons, but one of the reasons it's unusual is he gives his book away for free, which is lovely. But he's run out, he's given so many away, he's outdone us all, every Yaffles poet I know. But it's a wonderful book. It's gonna read something new tonight for you, or this afternoon even. So please put your hands together for Colin Day.
Mark. This is the first time I've ever been on radio, so I'm slightly nervous, so be gentle with me, please. Right. First of all, I need to put my glasses on. This is, the title of this poem is What We Bring Back With Us, Each Their Own Detectorist. Time can be unkind as we lose our older tongue. Selig, Suffolk, silly Suffolk. wholly changed to daft. Now recovering the spirit of Sutton Hoo, we are seen as sad men of modern Suffolk. Searching for our ancestors' spoor, we troop out each weekend, scrabble for the droppings on the stable plain and in the folds of rolling hills. We seek out the carelessly disregarded or the tragic loss of a dead wife's brush, her brooch. We comb history for comfort as much as treasure in the domestic. Find what we need to. And the second poem that I'm going to read is from my friend Jen McGowan, who could be described, I think, as the Bard of Didcot. And the title of the poem is Doing Business Upon the Great Waters. They that go down to the sea in ships that do business in great waters, from Psalms. Dad flew search and rescue, days spent in looking for bodies. One time he walked around the chopper, heard a squelch, looked down at his foot through a bloated torso, retched for hours. But still sky-owled the ocean for years, not so much for hope, but because once it had been him. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Next up is the other half of Yaffles Nest and the third part of Yaffle, and actually my wife. So welcome, Jill Connors.
So I'm going to read my poem first from the anthology. For recovery from anything, I suppose I take to the water. So this poem is about my favourite river, the Wharf. This is river water, peat and mulch, fish and cray and duck mites. This is pool and swirl, tingle and sting, and never knowing where the bottom is. Wharf, from spring that flows to Leeds. This river swim is brack and weeds, bat and kingfisher flash. Head under, current pull, eyes open, ears full of water speak. River flow, through fields, run-off flood banks. Tonight it is deep pond, flat surface, wide and quiet, mine. And the next poem I'm going to read is by Adrian Salmon, and it's called Self-Portrait with Acupuncture Needle. I have adopted the pose of a crusader knight, hands folded, feet crossed. The needle quivers, an arrow between my brows. Hic, Harold Rex, interfectus est. By rights, my cat should be here, curled on my chest in posture of fidelity, but she is otherwise engaged, inhabiting elsewhere the pleasures of her liquid body, the obsessions of her walnut brain. So while I'm up here, I'm going to introduce our next poet, who is a stalwart of Sunday Wordship. She is often sent to dust the pews and water the flowers. So please welcome Hilary Robinson.
Thank you, Jill. I bought some roses for tomorrow. My poem is called Leaving Holes. It took my dad 3 short weeks from first chest pain to last breath. His prognosis always grim, a spell come to blight us, a joking hole left inside his Jeannie McSweeney, their girly pearls that's still there. He fought back tears at our wedding. Same age as my dad, my father-in-law lived on in his pipe-smoking corner of the retirement bungalow. Antisocial, anti-most things, he refused to come to our wedding. He lived on, and I'm not proud to admit this, I resented his humorless longevity. There, I've said it out loud. Parenting's a tricky thing to get right, and there's no blueprint. I just hope I leave holes that don't hurt too much. And I've got the honour of reading a poem by Mandy Schifrin, who can't be here today because she's living in the Netherlands. It's called Jack in the Pulpit. Almost as soon as I could walk, I was devotional. I toddled my secret pilgrimage down the driveway, squatted on unboned haunches and stroked with reverence the trumpet lilies growing there. Raindrops slid down arum throats, flicked splashes on silken leaves, furled petals cool to touch, even in the furnace of the day. I glided baby fingers on turgid stamens, whirls gilded Argentine for life. I don't know why, but I recover the memory many years later when the rivers turned to blood. We were unprotected that day, but not in the way I thought. I thought we were intentional. I was the paradise setting, a tropical waterfall in moonshine, closed around a preacher in the night. I was so sure that tiny pink spiders could hold on, that no ambrosial funeral flower could ever let you go.
Thank you, Hilary. Next up, we have our youngest member of Wordship and also a recent star of Ilkley Literature Festival. Her first collection, Dirty, came out in 2022, and will be publishing her next one when she gets round to finishing all her academic stuff, PhD next, I think, as well. So welcome, the star of Ilkley Literature Festival and many other things, Holly Bars.
I don't think I was quite the star of Ilkley Literature Festival, but I might have been like an atom of it. Okay, right. This is Holly Bars. This is the poem that's in the Recovery anthology that I wrote. The pain in my arse started the day after I read my police report and examination. I got hemorrhoids 5 times. I got back pain later. I went to physio and got some exercises which aren't helping, though the appointment was behind a curtain, and I couldn't really say the extra information. I think this might be body memories from getting pedoed when I was 5. The more I try the exercises, the more PTSD I feel, the more cranky I am. I feel it all the way from my arse to my back now, I explained to my partner, which is a big step forward for me to say, because for the past few weeks, there has just been the pain, and me trying to pretend the pain isn't there, is something else, is this quiet kind of pain that needs to be looked after silently and not disturbed or made to cry. My partner doesn't reply, leaves it for 5 minutes and asks, "What are we doing at the weekend?" Which is more or less the response I expect from anyone and everyone else. And I'm also reading a poem by my friend and fellow poet, Pen Keyes. anastrozole. She's reached halfway, 2.5 years to go of this miracle drug. The packet says, take 1 per day until May 2027. She wonders what she'll be when she reaches the other side. The paper insert is clear. She'll be old, with fading bones, a crone. Nodal osteoarthritis means wearing glamorous gloves to bed, but it's okay. A temporary problem, she tells herself. You're still alive. Don't moan. You can do this. Remembers her old dad wearing his rupture truss like a gunslinger. How he listened to the news all night. Couldn't cope with day. She knows lying awake is inevitable. Distracts herself with Audible, feeding into earbuds until morning. Josephine Tay detective stories with bright young things who speak their minds. Bertie Wooster, Crompton's Just William. The way books in the 1920s and 30s lied. How they had food and titles and empire, bravura in the face of fascism. How they'd done the war to end all wars, the flu to end all flus. Threw stones at the black shirts in Bristol until it came back. But this isn't war, she tells herself, not yet. Enjoy life. The climate cataclysm isn't quite here. Grow up. You're just one more woman not wanting nature to win.
Thanks, Holly. Next up, we have another Sunday Wordship regular, and I think he's going to be our tallest one as well, so we've got a mic specially set up for him. Haridavacha, step up.
Thank you, Mark. So I'm going to read Released. I read the report again, check the figures. Does it answer the question? Are there any caveats to mention? It's quiet now. The others have gone. Concentration arrives. The clock races past 6. Eventually, I press send and head home in the dark. Derek needs this today. This is important. I said I'd send it today. Familiar thoughts, but are they true? Actually, I'd promised more than I could do. Actually, I didn't check with Derek. Actually, perhaps it's more about reputation, vanity. Actually, I didn't value my time enough to cut it short and send it. Actually, I didn't value my life enough. At the new place, at 5 o'clock we stop, save work, switch off, leave it where it is. Still a shock for me. My habit was to work past 6, but here that's frowned on. We all walk out, lock up, wave goodbye, drive off. At yours, we brew tea, recount our day. At 6, The Simpsons. You both know most episodes. Wrapped, we follow the twisting tale till credits roll. Then I stroll home.
Thanks, Haridavacha. 5 years and Jill Stark can't pronounce your name, but I can. Today I've done it right for the first time, I think. Okay, next up we have somebody who's come all the way from Wales, and you've got to watch this one because she is prone to fall into bouts of hysterical laughter at really inappropriate moments, even with serious poems, but it's quite funny because you can see her trying to hold it in on the screen when we work with her on Zoom. So just be prepared for her to laugh at your poems, no matter how serious they are. But it's good. Laughter helps serious stuff, I think. So welcome our lovely, laughing Julie Griffiths.
I'm a very serious poet. Thank you. Your hands, glasses. I'm so sorry. Thank you. So far this weekend, I've been late for a funeral, left my bag in a hotel, and forgot my glasses for a reading. Wonderful. Your hands are frantic as landed fish today, battling the seatbelt, the defiant car door. At the cafe, a trail of coffee hits the deck. The sugar packet defeats your fingers. That pointless biscuit makes for the exit, the gulls applauding its parkour flourish. The bullying cafe shakes the table. Your custard tart crumbles still in the foil, slavers over your shirt. I recover the bit that is still good. There, like new, 10-second rule, not 5. Stretching time, the only way we can. Thank you. And this one's called Garlic, and it's by Helen Rice. To plank garlic is to say we believe we will recover to prize apart the papery gems, poke them into cold clag, and trust that despite the conditions, if we just hold our nerve, have faith, credit the earth to know more than we do, we will be rewarded. That November, I water the clothes with my tears, return to Newcastle with paisley dirt stubbornly stuck under my nails. Sure enough, come spring, the scapes appear. By summer, they have twisted in on themselves, grotesque swan necks kissing each other in a strangling embrace. Flowering uselessly, the bulbs go unharvested in my absence. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. You didn't laugh once. Well done. Yeah, I think we need to invent a remote control mic stand that you can remotely detonate to the right height. If anyone wants to invent one, I think that'd be a good idea. Next up, we have one of the halves of Gobby in the Lobby in Wakefield, a fantastic compere and a brilliant poet. Please put your hands together for Lisa Falshaw.
First, I'm going to read my poem called The Trouble with Overused Metaphors. It was never the contrived metaphor of a road. That would suggest we could reach the end and a recovery of sorts. Instead, you and I tread a hostile landscape, sometimes together, sometimes alone. I never know when our paths will converge, where they might veer sharply away from each other, and we both have to go it alone for a while. I don't see all of the landscape you are made to walk in solitude, but I imagine you scrambling over rocks, wading through muddied water, dodging rockfalls, skidding down scree on steep slopes. You acquire cuts and grazes along the way. I see blood and mud seep through your clothes. Watch purple heather bloom on vulnerable skin. Wish I could soothe it away, as I once did, with cool spring water, words blown on the wind, love. But now I'm useless, can only watch and wait until our paths converge again. Walk the next part with you, scale mountains, plough the expanse of empty fields. Let my hair and voice loose on summits to scream the unfairness and cruelty of it all. Hold your trembling hands. Try to see your terrified face in the dark. Find a more fitting metaphor. The next poem I'm going to read is a wonderful poem by Tim Brooks. It's called Hydrotherapy in Different Water. I saw it written as I woke on the whiteboard that steers my days. 10:15 a.m., HT with CR, PT. My PT born in Italy, assigned to mend the broken, dead side. She's a proud Paduan, but I keep thinking of that girl from Bellagio. Awkward, painful slide into bathers. Danny helps. He teases. Going swimming today, boss, with the lovely Claudia. It's your lucky day. He gets an uneasy, crooked smile. Think of that summer spent in Como, like now in search of cures for dented dignity. He whistles, pushing me down unfamiliar corridors. They lift me into strange water. She is there, and I am content. Holding my hand, we tread the temperate pool. I feel my feet on the bottom, smooth, uncertain, like the pebbles that day at San Giovanni. I taste this new water that smarts my lips. It's tepid, sour, chlorine-bleached. I think of the crisp, cool water of the Lago, swimming uncovered at midnight with the girl from Bellagio. She gently makes me move my dead side. Life returns slowly to morose, morbid limbs. Soft form brushes my arm. I remember love in Lombardy, drinking Franciacorta, eating micetta, the sweet gift of bees. She dries my hair. I'm back in the chair. Grazie mi piace stare in acqua, I tell her. That's good, she says. That's good. Let's get you back to the ward. Well done. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Lisa. Fantastic reading there, beautiful. And the best footwear so far, I have to say, where the sort of purple and blue lights reflected off the patent black was rather beautiful. Not in a weird way, I'm not a foot fetishist or anything, but I do like the shoes of our poets, and this next poet I'm sure will be wearing excellent footwear. I can promise you, in fact, a $5 to anybody who wants to bet on it. Anybody want to place a bet? No? Okay, we'll have Liz McPherson.
Thanks, everybody. So I'm going to read two poems, one by me and one by the excellent Hannah Stone. Mine's called Coping. Today, we walked the dogs. I noticed how thin you've got, how you flinched when Oscar pulled on his lead. I said, I think it's a bad back, that it might go away after a few days' rest, and you nod. We sit in your too neat lounge drinking tea. You mention you're going for another blood transfusion at Bexley Wing. And I want to shout, let's gallop across fields. Let's pretend we're events riders at Bramham. Let's jump off the iron bridge over the river. Let's eat chocolate till we're sick. Steal daffodils from the park. Instead, we talk about how you think your house needs a lick of paint, how the bathroom is calling for a good spring clean, how the clock in the kitchen has stopped. And Hannah's poem is titled Prescription. Next day, driving my sad bones home through sunshine and showers, my heart laboured to birth compassion for the empty seat beside me, the blank page in the diary, the silent phone. The analgesia as before, one part Peter Gabriel's I Grieve, one part the Eagles' Get Over It, consume frequently, and walk fast through woodland and on wind-swept hills.
Thank you, Liz. I have to say I did prefer last year's footwear, but still excellent, but I like your other docs, so I'm a little bit disappointed. You've gone all subtle all of a sudden. It's probably since your pamphlet. It does happen. Once you get that diva level, you start getting subtle, and yeah. A pamphlet's called Shivering in the Wind, by the way, and it's fabulous. And lots of people are coming up to you, I believe, and telling you how great it is. But don't let the ego rise. Trust me, it hurt me badly. Okay, next up we have someone who's come all the way from Newcastle, I'd like to say. Near enough Newcastle. Wallsend. Alan Shearerland, brilliant. She brought out her first collection last year through Yaffles, which is brilliant. We still haven't got a copy, weirdly enough, but we're going to get one today, and I can't wait to read it. Penny Blackburn, everyone.
Thank you, Mark. My poem is based on, I still have family back in West Yorkshire, which is where I was born and brought up, and this was based on one of the occasions when I went home to visit. It's called M62, Junction 27. I left late, darkness already creeping into the chill February day, but I got a shift on, felt the warmth of you all waiting grow steadily with every fog thickened mile. I was so close, 2 junctions, then the noise of something snapping, unratcheting inside the engine, loss of power, just enough to scrape onto the shoulder, narrow here as the carriageway bridged over other roads. Behind the barrier, only the thinnest strip of scrub, concrete rooted. I balanced myself between the fear of falling or of being hit by a truck, rattling round the bend, oblivious. Except one, a transit. He saw me with enough time to slow, to stare and see me through the bloom of fog. My heart slowed too, limbic system playing catch-up. I remembered that woman, the pregnant one in '88. He was gone, but the prickle and dry mouth remained. I shrank back further, tried not to feel the abrupt space behind me, tried not to let the cold settle too deep inside me. I waited for the orange lights of the flatbed, flashing recovery around the junction, overlaid inside my mind with flashing blue and red. Thank you. So the next poem I'm going to read is by Shelley Tracy, who is another of the far-flung Wordship participants, and I believe she's based in Northern Ireland. And her poem is called Convalescence. Snow through the fence posts, one crow, one broken branch. The days are too short. The path through the forest blocked by a fallen tree, not one of the feathered new pines in a too shallow hole, but the heaviest beech. Soil still drips from the upended roots, red squirrel boxes lie cracked on the ground. This spring, only a few of the daffodils bloom, the other bulbs rot, overwhelmed by the floods. The recovery agent collects what I owe, grabs not only apples released by the storm, but the glowing ripe fruit which fits in my hands. I dream of a cactus too old to keep growing, not waiting for rain. Thank you.
Thanks, Penny. Great stuff. Okay, next up we have another amazing footwear poet. Oh, come on. You better have some good footwear on now. Well, last year she had. Everybody's gone a bit subtle this year, though, so let's see what we get. She's brought a brilliant joint collection with Hilary called An Altogether Different Place about their experience of dementia with their partners. It's heartbreaking and beautiful, so get your hands on a copy if you can. Here she comes. Ooh, we've got pink shoes. Excellent. Oh, yeah. Rachel Davis.
Thank you. Last year at this event, I read in public my first dementia poem, and since then, Hilary and I have a collection, and this is a poem I've written since the collection. My partner's got Lewy body's dementia, which is hallucinations, really. I just wish Howard would do one. Several times a week, I recover from dementia. And if you think that seems improbable, think again. Recovery's a wayward dream for Lewy body patients. But for me, watching you slowly fade into fantasy, recovery, by which I mean the need to restore myself, is a must after sharing your parallel universe, where Howard is trying to steal our farmhouse, make us bankrupt, take everything, including me, and the solicitors are doing nothing about it, and you won't eat your lunch because you just had lunch with Amy, Angus, and me at the meeting with Howard. And I say, no, we had to leave before lunch was served. Remember, Amy had to get to work. So please eat your lunch. And you say, if I eat this, do I get to keep the farmhouse? So I nod, watch you fork in a mouthful while talking to Joan, who's become Howard, across the table. And Joan answers from her own broken reality, so nothing here makes sense. And if it wasn't so totally sad, it might almost be funny. So after 2 hours, I come home, sit in the garden with a cup of rooibos. I'm on my 3rd stint of recovery in a week. Thank you. And I'm going to read Abigail Otley's poem, which is the first poem in the anthology. It's called Therapy and Shoes. The church of our remembering is as deep as any mine, darker than a fairy tale forest. Our days are glass-sharp, crystal splinters of light slicing the canopied gloom. There a startled owl rising, a scuffle of shrews, a mangled bloody fox who comes bellying, a sinuous weasel or some renegade polecat slinking through the rain-sodden loam. With no compass to guide us and landmarks being few, we find ourselves journeying in circles. Then we ask ourselves, what is it we seek? How, if we could choose, would we be saved? But we, my heart and I, know full well we must learn to be our own magic beanstalk, stroke talking cat, stroke 7-league boots, stroke pink fairy with 3 wishes and a wand. We may find our redemption in the trail we laid, but no woodsman with an axe will come to save us. We are searching for that place where we missed our step, after which we lost our way. Sometimes we will question if it's all to any purpose. Isn't this a self-defeating exercise? We've travelled too far from our point of departure. Nothing now can be changed. But our aim is not to alter the past, only to know how it happened. So many miles we've stumbled in cramped, ill-fitting shoes. They pinched us till we bled. Now we'll climb aboard our carpet and we'll fly. Thank you. Thank you.
See, it is literally all about shoes poetry, as is evident just then. Great stuff and great shoes. Okay, next up we have somebody who put their first pamphlet out with Yaffle in lockdown, so she never had that lovely thing of having a live book launch, which we're going to remedy. That's my alarm for my blood pressure tablets going off. Which has just gone up, pretty enough. Well, she's going to get a real launch next time we put a book out, which will be quite soon, hopefully. Sue Butler.
Thank you. First, I'm going to read a poem by a well-known, prominent local poet, Sandra Burnett, which I'm delighted to read because Sandra actually fostered me into the local poetry scene. The Skid. Midnight, and this snake of country road is a gift for wannabe Formula One posers. They screech left, right, abandon stomach to brow. I steer into flashes of headlights, a race of overtakes, wipers wiped, I spin 360. Spotify plays my thudding heart. Instinct dictates I climb through the gears, follow the moon's spectral beam, keep to the left of double whites, and ask who or what cleared the game board. And this is one of mine, a longer scale anthology, really, I beg your pardon, a longer scale recovery, really, which began with my mother's tales of her wartime service. In Belgium, you detested most of all the sun, and when it beat down on the bony embraces and garlicky kisses of the victory parade, you hated it more. You longed for east wind, fresh from the sea. Belgium is so flat, you'd say, the air so still, the heat so sticky. Some days you crept into the cellar to cool your back against the brick, rest your eyes against the dark. If you took a candle, you would see the sawdust the enemy left behind, ankle deep, mum as a pine needle carpet in the woods. Now we have a new century. Rattle across tram tracks as we leave Zeebrugge, speed past waves of cornfields, ranks of windbreak poplars, standing calm and prosperous in the sun.
Thank you, Sue. Brilliant stuff. Next up, we have our first ever Yaffles Nest pamphleteer, who we published back in 2022, 3, was it? God. Anyway, here she is, Tony Richmond.
Hi there, this poem is a bit archaeological. Uncovering the past at the Nests of Brodgar. Some of the objects found hidden in the nooks and crannies of those ancient buildings were, we think, offerings to their gods, not intended for us. We recognize this, treat them with reverence and awe. The polished stone axes, carved stone balls, the odd human thigh bone, the incised stones with their butterfly and zigzag motifs carry meanings far beyond our comprehension and modern sensibilities. But other things recovered from this site are a mix of lost and discarded things, broken pots, cow bones, flint scrapers, arrowheads, tiny spatulas and beads, the detritus of everyday life. We study them, probe and pry with our eyes, hands, and all the scientific tests and machines we have today. We seek out meaning, peer through a dense veil of time at the people who lived here 5,000 years ago. Sometimes we get close, just for a moment. The thumbprint of a potter, the paw print of a dog, the imprint of a woven mat captured on wet clay. I've got the honour of reading a poem by Os Hardwick, who is Professor of Creative Writing at Leeds Trinity. He's not here today because he's in Australia doing poetic things and also posting photographs of kangaroos on Facebook. It's called A Version of Therapy. Recovery takes many forms. Sometimes it's a matter of steady hands and predictable sleep. Sometimes it's cold tiles behind a locked door. But always the losses outweigh the gains. On one side of the scales, I pile pills, phone numbers, acronyms, and breathing exercises. On the other, I place memory, forgetting, blunt nails, and broken glass. I adopt a balanced diet of water and dusk, but my gut's full of rocks, and each morning I'm heavier than the night before. I adopt a stray dog, but he's a coyote or a tsunami or a recurring nightmare of being buried alive. I adopt an air of calm, but that's someone else, and I retreat to my panic room, reciting my superstitious litany of safe words. Yet I have recovered my bloated body from the pond in the park, and I have recovered the chairs and sofas to hide the stains. Recovery is a matter of steady sleep and predictable hands. Sometimes it's just a matter of filling in forms and waiting.
Thank you, Tony. I'm going to finish with another Wordship poet who's not here today, who was at the launch last night. And somebody who I'd go back a really long way with. The first ever gig I compared back in 2013, she was one of the guests. And we've been good friends ever since, and we'll be publishing her next collection with Yaffles too. This is by Linda Marshall, and it's called Found. The body has been recovered, and something in my life goes missing. No longer do I fill the emptiness with news reports, drip-feeding me tittle-tattle. My curiosity no longer hungers for more detail. Shouldn't I have known it's not a game? Not an Agatha Christie. It involves a real person, real people. The body has been recovered. Nobody in the vicinity gets over this. I think I've lost my way. So thank you all for reading so beautifully, not only your own poems, but poems that you've just been given today. I know you're familiar with one or two of them, but to read so beautifully somebody else's work is quite a gift. So give yourselves a round of applause for doing such a brilliant job. And I definitely feel all the better for this morning. I had a bit of a meltdown with my health this morning. So I've recovered during this reading, which is incredible. So thanks for helping me recover. And thanks, Peter, for involving Yaffles and Wordship once again. And I'm sure we'll be back next year with another anthology. And I can't wait to hear what the word is. Not telling us. So till then, thank you very much.
From Seacroft, East Leeds.